For the past month, I've been on a mission to unlock the secrets of great screenwriting by diving into the work of one of the most successful and beloved writers in Hollywood, Nancy Meyers. Over the course of 4 weeks, I read 4 of Meyers' most iconic screenplays, taking note of everything from dialogue to structure to character development. And today, I'm excited to share with you the top insights that I gained from this deep dive into Meyers' work. So whether you're a seasoned screenwriter or just starting out, stick around to discover how you too can elevate your writing game and craft stories that captivate audiences. I started this challenge by reading one of my all-time favorite screenplays, Something's Gotta Give. I hadn't even worked my way down the first page before I started making loads of notes. However, the one that I chose to jot down was that specificity with character descriptions can flip a switch in my mind in a way that the characters move from being words on a page to people I may not know fully, but somehow connect with almost instantaneously. Whether it's empathy, humor, or intrigue, there's something to her character descriptions that gets me excited about the character. For day 2, I decided to check out the intros for Something's Gotta Give and The Holiday, and I picked up a pretty cool way to start the film. Both of them started with music over a black screen, which then faded into some action. Lush, romantic movie music over a black screen. Fade in on a young couple kissing on the beach. Over black, we hear Jarrell's living it up. But I think in the actual film, it was the "Come my lady, come my lady, you're my butterfly, sugar baby." Quality tune. Exterior, New York City, a hot August night. Music over Midtown. A brunette beauty crosses in front of a stack of cabs, her sheer dress clinging to her remarkable body. Whether it was a kiss or a lady walking, something was happening to the rhythm of a song. The choice of the music established a tone to the screenplay, and it was met with an action that enhanced that feeling. Next, we're discussing something that is classic Nancy Meyers. When she describes a space, boy oh boy, it just feels familiar. It's like you and her are friends going out for lunch discussing an Airbnb you've just visited. Without too much detail, you get the picture. Miles' LA house in the Hollywood Hills, small and Spanish. Exterior village house moments later. A picture postcard stone cottage sits nestled in a winter garden. This is one of the smallest houses you've ever seen. Exterior, Jane's house, late day. The house is modest and charming, and sits on a few acres in the lush green hills of Santa Barbara. Neat rows of vegetables dot the landscape. I can see that. I've noticed that Nancy has a way of introducing a close relationship, or what may have been a genuinely close relationship at some point in time. So she places her characters in situations that show how they truly know each other. So if we look at It's Complicated, it's charming where Jane finishes Jake's sentences. But also in The Holiday, Iris truly knows Jasper by giving him an incredibly sentimental Christmas gift. The script is so good. On page 76 of It's Complicated, it just blows me away how the midpoint, nothing happens. It's not like something big had to happen. The fact that somebody didn't pinch up, it just turns the whole energy of the movie up until this point, and it's quite sad. She then sighs very deeply and decisively as she turns out the lights, and room by room the house becomes dark. The midpoint is so subtle and yet so powerful. I'm not sure if Nancy would agree with me or if this was even her plan, but her 3 antagonists in Something's Gotta Give, It's Complicated, and The Holiday are all charming. I mean, in The Holiday we've got Jasper, charming. In It's Complicated we have Jake, so charming. In Something's Gotta Give, we've got Jack, or what is his name actually? Oh, Harry. But it was played by that guy, I think his name was Jack. Oh, what was his name? Oh, Jack Nicholson. But here it is, Harry, also charming. Today I looked at the midpoint of The Holiday, and it was interesting to see that this was the spot where Amanda let her walls come down and also Graham almost fully opened up. It was interesting to see that she used the midpoint to show a development in both of the characters, almost leading to a peak of emotional connection. Day 8 was a goodie. It's where I came across the element of surprise in the 4 screenplays. So on page 46 of The Intern, we realize that Julia is a mom. This deepens her character. If we look at The Holiday, we realize that Graham is a dad. And his daughters, well, they ask for Mr. Napkinhead, and this shows a different side to Graham. If we look at Something's Gotta Give, we learn that the doctor, Julian, wants to take Erica on a date. At this point, we could think the story is only about Harry and Erica, but it's fun to see Erica getting pursued by someone else. Similarly, in It's Complicated, it's a nice surprise when we see the Steve Martin character trying to court Meryl. It adds another layer and additional conflict to the feelings already bubbling up in the screenplay. Day 9 is where I was blown away with how Nancy is able to write sophisticated, ambitious women. The women in her screenplays are not obnoxious or uptight. If we look at Jane in It's Complicated and Erica in Something's Gotta Give, they're brilliant, but in an aspirational kind of way. If we look at Jules from The Intern and Kate from The Holiday, we see females who have a humility towards them, and this packs them with heart. Nancy has truly mastered showing emotion through action. In Something's Gotta Give, we see that crying montage, so Erica channels that complete and utter heartbreak into her writing, but we really see what she feels, as well as the emotional roller coaster that she's on. And then in The Holiday, we see Cameron Diaz's character at the start of the film not being able to cry. And even though she's tried for years to actually cry, it just doesn't happen. But at the end of the screenplay, we see that because she's opened herself up to love and because she fell in love, it's something she doesn't need to try to do. Crying comes quite naturally to her. Showing this emotion through action proves to be powerful in both of these screenplays. There are moments in her screenplays that act as a break from the A story. These moments assist with pace and adds to the energy of the film. In It's Complicated, I enjoy the scenes with the Meryl Streep character and her friends. In The Intern, there's a scene where the Robert De Niro character breaks into a house to steal a computer. These moments add fun and additional little pockets of color to the screenplay. Today, it's all about the Julian comeback in Something's Gotta Give. Now, I don't know what it is about these few scenes, but the comedy, sincerity, and pure brilliance makes it worth revisiting, rereading, rewatching multiple times. The film could have taken such a different turn here, but bringing Julian back and the way the relationship evolves and the story moves forward makes me so happy. In It's Complicated, we have Harney played by, I want to say Jim from The Office, but his name is actually John. Anyway, he's wonderfully written because he sees what we see, all the while there is a double conflict on the go, because he doesn't want to tell his wife what he's witnessed because he doesn't want to upset her, and at the same time she thinks he's having cold feet about the wedding. So the note that I took here was that writing a character that acts as the audience, but then introducing a level of tension about what it is that they're observing. Well, this makes it a real treat to read both on the page and then when watching the film as well. In Nancy Meyers' film The Holiday, the use of contrast and juxtaposition creates interesting and engaging storylines. An example is the contrasting experiences of the two main characters. Kate Winslet's character goes from a modest cottage to a larger-than-life LA mansion. And then Cameron Diaz's character goes from being constantly busy to having so much spare time on her hands that she ends up having staring competitions with a dog. It's clever and it makes the storylines a lot of fun. Today I'm focusing in on that fish out of water premise. In Nancy Meyers' screenplay The Intern, Robert De Niro's character is thrust into an unfamiliar environment, and this creates a lot of opportunities for conflict and humor. But what makes this character really brilliant, in my opinion, is that nothing about him is obvious. So what you would typically expect to see from an older guy walking into a young working environment doesn't really happen. The way that I read it, most of the humor comes from the character and how the character interacts with other characters, more so than the job at hand. I guess what I'm picking up is that the whole fish out of water framework makes for an exciting set of circumstances, but if you're gonna write what feels like the obvious, it doesn't add as much energy to it as what an original character with a different perspective in the framework can bring to it. I don't know if that makes sense. If you read It's Complicated, you'll see that as the story unfolds, the conflict between the characters deepen as they struggle to navigate their complex feelings and desires. Jane, the Meryl Streep character, is torn between her past with Jake, her new relationship with Adam, and her desire for independence and personal fulfillment. Meanwhile, Jake is struggling to come to terms with his own life choices and his feelings for Jane, while Adam is trying to make sense of his relationship with Jane and the complications that come with it. The tension between the characters are then further heightened by their personal histories, as well as their different perspectives on family, commitment, and love. I mean, we've got Jake and Jane. They have a complicated history together, as well as clear, unresolved emotional issues, and then that shared past that they can't escape. And then we have Adam, who is the more stable, reliable presence in Jane's life, but he comes with his own emotional baggage around commitment and love. What I'm getting is that we've got a lot of complex feelings and desires in the screenplay, and that this together makes for great tension, but not only great tension, believable tension. Nancy's screenplays often explore universal themes, such as love, family, aging, and personal growth. These universal themes make it easy for me to buy into her films from the poster already. When I know what a film is about and I have an emotional pull to it, then that results in a quick buy-in from me. This has inspired me to not go too niche on my screenplays, and to focus more on incorporating universal themes that more people could buy into. I've often felt a bit of pressure to include jokes when I'm working on a rom-com, and I've learned after reading a couple of Nancy Meyers screenplays that her screenplays aren't funny in a comedy show kind of way. The humor more comes from witty dialogue or situational comedy, and that's taken off a lot of pressure for me feeling like I need to be a comedian, because I'm just not. We just have to talk about the emotionally resonant ending and Something's Gotta Give. I just reread it, and every single time I read it, it just makes me want to cry. It is written so beautifully. I don't know if you feel the same after reading it, but I get this bittersweet tone that captures all the complexities of life and love. You see Harry, Julian, and Erica make bold choices at the end of the screenplay, and these choices reflect a lot of growth and, dare I say, maturity. I have to apologize. At this point in the video, I realize it's kind of been all over the place. It might have been a good idea to maybe start with things that I learned in the first act, then the second act, then the third act, and then maybe some just random things at the end. But I've just been sharing things as I've learned them and as I've found them interesting. So today I'm going to be talking about a twist at the end. So this is a semi-spoiler alert about It's Complicated. At the end of this film, we see Jake's younger wife leave him. And this was an interesting twist, because you'd think, maybe Jake would leave her for Meryl. But what is interesting is it speaks to the type of character he is, that he doesn't know what he wants, and somebody else had to actually make the decision for him. But the twists don't stop there, because it's interesting that Meryl's character doesn't yearn to actually end up with her ex. And when he comes knocking on the door, it's quite interesting to see her reaction. It doesn't seem like she's all too thrilled about it. And I have to mention one more twist that stole my heart. So after Jake does that grand gesture, to get Meryl's attention, and it's so embarrassing. Steve Martin obviously sees something he wasn't expecting to see. And he goes about it really maturely. He sort of tells Jake and the Meryl character to sort out what they need to sort out, and he bows out. And, he says he's not going to be involved with Meryl's project anymore. And you kind of expect him to walk away, and it's sad. You kind of hope that he'll pitch up in some capacity, but the way he's written, you kind of get him, and you're like, okay, oh man, you're such a good guy. See you, never. And then he pitches up for Meryl at the end, and I mean, it just warmed my heart so much. I loved all of the unexpected twists that you get at the end of the screenplay. Today, I reflected on the closure that you get at the end of The Holiday. Because we're tracking so many storylines in this film, we could forget about the payoffs that all of the characters deserve, and Nancy obviously doesn't do this. She brilliantly makes every character get that fulfilling conclusion at the end of their story, that closure, whether it's overcoming fear or doubts of past relationships, or being brave, or going for what you want, or opening your heart and feeling something for the first time. We see the leads and the love interest and the Jack Black character. Everybody gets that satisfying payoff at the end, and it makes it a fulfilling conclusion for each of the characters. In It's Complicated and Something's Gotta Give, There are two similar "that's what love looks like" moments. Nancy writes both Julian and Agnes in a way that you really respect them. There's this mindfulness and awareness about them because they're able to both get to a point where they see true love, and then they step away from the relationships that they were currently in because they're both aware that they're a second choice. Both of these moments are incredibly powerful, whether you read them in the screenplay or see them on screen. Building off yesterday's "that's what love looks like" moment, today's point focuses on the big conversation that would have happened that Nancy leaves up to our imagination. We don't see the conversation between Julian and Erica or Agnes and Jake where things end. I find that there's a magic to this because you either get to fill in that detail for yourself using your imagination, or you accept it the way that Erica describes it and something's got to give, or how Jake speaks about the end of his relationship to Agnes and It's Complicated. The ending of It's Complicated was beautiful. When Jane and Adam share that magical moment of making croissants together earlier on in the film, you can't help but fall in love with them together. At the end of the film, Adam pitches up for Jane. That's huge. But when he says, "Jane, I need to ask you something," that could go in so many different directions. But this guy, he is written so refreshingly because he takes the high road and asks, "You wouldn't happen to have any of those amazing chocolate croissants, would you?" As someone looking in from the outside, you can't help but see the subtext. I think this is such a great ending because of that croissant moment that was set up earlier on in the film. This movie, not a single moment is wasted. We covered the end of It's Complicated yesterday, but the end of The Intern is also fun to take note of because Nancy takes us full circle here. So we fade into a group of people doing Tai Chi, and we meet Ben, and at this point it comes across like he's lived a full life, but he's kind of feeling alone, somewhat lonely and unfulfilled at the start of the screenplay. And then we see his transformation, but we end with a Tai Chi sequence again. And I like that there was the Tai Chi sequence at the start and at the end. And this time, however, Jules comes in and joins him, just showing that his life is now full and he is a lot more fulfilled. It's a nice full circle moment. So we've been looking at endings of It's Complicated, The Intern, and today we're going to look at the ending of Something's Gotta Give. Now, I love that with all of these endings, we get that full circle moment. But what's great about Nancy Meyers films is that there seems to be a visual that accompanies the transformation journey that we've witnessed as an audience or as readers. But what's interesting is in Something's Gotta Give, it starts in a chic eatery downtown and then it ends in a chic eatery, the same one as the first scene. But in the film, it doesn't actually do this. There's that montage of the young girls and then they go straight into the car. And it didn't need it. I thought that the pacing was fantastic in the movie. It was great. But it was quite cool to feel like I, got an additional something special when I was reading the screenplay. I liked the visual. And in the last two films, I think, just the Intern, I think there was that visual of Tai Chi in the beginning and Tai Chi in the end. But here, it in the screenplay at least, we had that eatery in the beginning and the eatery in the end. And just something fun to think about. In The Holiday, you want Amanda to end up with Graham, Miles to end up with Iris, but a character that caught my attention, that I really grew to love, was the Arthur Abbott's character. In essence, he's not on the poster or in the trailer selling the film, but oh my goodness, does he steal your heart when you're reading the screenplay. He acts as somewhat of a mentor to Iris, but their friendship surpasses the typical student-teacher relationship. As much of a light that he is in Iris's life, so is she to him in his life as well. Writing a character as robust as he is serious writing goals for me. It's the last day of the month and I've decided to take a broad learning from what I've learned from reading these screenplays over the last couple of weeks. Something Nancy does brilliantly is guide her reader and her audience through her film. As strange as this may sound, it never felt like my brain had to do too much work because the movies were led with heart. Each of these films made me feel something, but not only that, I felt like I went on a mini holiday. And I guess that's why I come back to these films time and time again, every time I need a break. Now, if you're curious why I only covered these 4 screenplays, it's because I couldn't find her older work in the screenplay PDF format. And also, I couldn't watch some of her older movies because the content homes in my country don't show them. As much as I would have loved to cover all her content, I'm sure I'll get to a point to do so some other time in the future. This journey of studying Nancy Meyers screenplays has been deeply rewarding and has impacted a lot of the projects that I'm currently working on. And I hope what I've reflected on has been helpful to you, and if it has, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you. I also just feel that I should say what I've shared have been my takeaways, and I could be getting it completely wrong. Nancy may not have intended for anything to come across the way that I have perceived it, so don't take what I've said as gospel, okay? But if you enjoyed this video, you may enjoy the last challenge I did where I read a screenplay every day for a month, so I'll leave that video for you in the end screen that you can check out next. Otherwise, let me know what Nancy Meyers films you enjoy, comment below, and good luck with your screenplays. I'll see you in one of the next videos. Take care, guys. Bye.